Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode of The Collector, and hey, thanks for watching. And this time we will be looking at 10 games on the amazing NES that you do not want to miss. And again, I have to say this is not a top 10, I will not be rating the games and they will be in no particular order. It is just a way of showing and talking about these games that I played in my childhood. And also, I do not own all these games, although I wish I would. And I know these lists have been done so many times and these games are not considered hidden anymore, but I still enjoy doing them. The NES is the second console that I was introduced to back in 1993, the first one being an old Atari 2600 which was played mostly by my bigger brothers. I was only 6 years old back then and I just fell in love with this console and made it my goal to collect and play as many games as I could. Being from Romania though, this was not the original NES. In Eastern Europe, unfortunately, we only had Chinese bootleg console, but hey, I didn't know any better, so to its credit, it did play the same games. But now let's just jump right into it and look at 10 games you do not want to miss on the NES. And firstly, I would like to talk about Panic Restaurant. And this game is one of those games from my childhood that I loved so much and I want to share it with you guys. The game is an action platformer and has a simple premise. An evil chef has used a spell to make all ingredients come to life and go wild, and now it's your duty as the good chef to go into the world and take on these ingredients to restore order. Those eggs need to be in my frying pan, damn it, not running wild. This game has some amazing graphics and the way you are a tiny chef and you go and hit them with your pan is just bliss. You can also get upgrades in this game like a big spoon, a bouncing fork, or even plates to throw. There must be something wrong with that fork upgrade though. I mean, look at his face when he's riding that fork. Something is not right here. This game is just great and I really love it, and you just have to play this one to see the NES at its best. Of course, getting a physical copy of this game is not exactly possible as it goes for so much, but you owe it to yourself to play this one any way you can and have fun. I have to warn you though, this is the NES we're talking about, so this game is gonna be hard. But if you are willing to put in the time, you will love it, and I think this is one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. And next we have Little Sampson, and I know this game is famous by now, but this is another game that if you want to own, you will have to spend a lot of money, so yeah, play it any way you can because this is a fantastic one. Unfortunately, I did not play this one when I was a kid, and what a shame that is because I feel I have missed out on a great game. Luckily, I discovered it when I started collecting and I am very thankful to that, and also to the fact that now I can look at these games with a more mature eye. Would I have loved to play it back in the day? Sure, but I am thankful that I did not miss it. You start this game by playing as Little Sampson in the first level, and then the other 3 levels you play as some kind of creature, from a dragon to a mouse and even a rock beast. No, not that kind of rock beast. You go through the first stages and uncover all these creatures' strengths and limitations that you will later use to tackle the main stages. So basically these first 4 stages acts as a tutorial. After the tutorial ends, you have to travel to the king, and the king will make you work together to defeat the evil sorcerer. Not all of the creatures are willing to cooperate, so the dragon will try to go on strike, but you put him in his place. Alright, after that is done, we start the main stages. Each creature has its strengths and weaknesses. For example, the rock monster will be able to walk on spikes and the mouse will go through small places. And you will have to juggle between them and get past these stages. This game is just great and it's one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. And next we have Power Blade, and I am talking about the sequel here, which is Power Blade 2, the one I had when I was a kid. And this, guys, is one of those games that when you start playing, you just think to yourself, oh my god, this guy is so cool and I wish I was him. I mean, look at him, he has that cool boomerang weapon and those cool jeans and sunglasses and a black wife beater. Yeah, that's what we call a tank top in the UK. I know it's weird, but I mean, this guy is just cool. This game starts with you on this cool bike and you go and you choose the order of the stages you like, and I think that is cool, but I do recommend to start with the first stage. This game takes place in the year 2200 and you play as Nova, who has ordered from the government to go in and stop the Delta Foundation, who has created deadly cyborgs that can threaten mankind. Story is never that important in these NES games. What matters here is pure awesomeness. This is an action platformer where you have a boomerang as a weapon. You can upgrade this weapon and make it stronger, and you have to platform your way through these buildings and defeat a cyborg boss in each one. You also get some stars that increases the range of your weapon and some power suits if you defeat the mid-stage bosses. Each of these suits will give you a different ability. This game is just great, and this is one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. And next we have Mighty Final Fight, and you are probably wondering what is Mighty Final Fight, as you have probably heard of Final Fight trilogy on the SNES and the arcades, but not Mighty Final Fight. Well, this is a spin-off port of the original arcade version, and in my opinion much better than its SNES counterparts. Now, don't get me wrong, those games are amazing in graphics and gameplay, and they are superior, but there is something about the NES port that makes it stand out and also makes it my favorite. It might be nostalgia at play, but god damn it, this game is cool. The puny NES could not take the big sprites, so instead they opted for these chibi-like graphics, and that makes it even more appealing. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up and you play with 3 characters and you are off to fight the gangs of Metro City to save Mayor Hagar's daughter. You play with Cody, the badass street fighter, Guy, the badass ninja, and Hagar himself, and you ravage the streets of Metro City and beat the shit out of these thugs. Each character plays different and has a different set of moves. For example, Cody has this Shoryuken style uppercut and he is the most balanced when it comes to life and damage. Guy has a smaller life and does not do big damage, but he is faster and has a special double leg hit, and Hagar is the slowest but does deal the most amount of damage and has the most life. This game is just great and I really loved it when I was a kid. I just could not believe my eyes on how great this was. And I do think this is one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. And next we have Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu, and back when I was a kid we actually did not get the original game. Remember how I told you we were just using Chinese bootleg consoles? Well, with this game we actually got a room hack and the protagonist of the game was actually Mario and not Jackie Chan. I always thought it was weird that Mario was a Kung Fu master, but hey, I did not question it back then. I just thought, hey, Mario is a badass. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu is an action platformer where you play as Jackie and you are off to fight an evil that has taken over China. On the way you find power-ups hidden in these frogs in the form of Kung Fu moves, which is just great. The boss battles here are just amazing and they will make you feel like a real badass Kung Fu master. There are also bonus stages hidden across the land where you have to jump on clouds to prove your dexterity. And also, don't you just love the NES, as even if playing a room and not the actual cartridge, it still found a way to glitch halfway through. I get it if I was playing from the actual NES, but this is the NES Mini, so no excuses. I guess that is the beauty of the NES though, and I will not have it any other way. The level design here is just brilliant and the music brings you back to ancient China and lifts up your spirit, and that is why Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu is one of those games you do not want to miss on the NES. And Gremlins 2 The Bad Batch is one of those games where the music is so damn good that you will want to use it in your videos or play it on repeat. This is a game I experienced when I was a kid, and I am glad I did, as who wouldn't want to play with Gizmo and kick the ass of the badass Gremlins. The game follows the movie plot closely and it has an over-the-head view. You start the game with an unlimited supply of tomato as a weapon, and you collect the orbs dropped by the enemies to use as currency at the shop to buy extra lives or upgrades for your main weapon. I would say the game seems a bit hard, but I do not think it's unfair. You just have to take your time and have patience with the enemy patterns. What is annoying here is the platforming bits, where if you play these over-the-head style games, you know that they never feel quite right. I do love the fact that Gizmo shoots in 8 directions, and I think he is just as cool as Simon's Belmont from Castlevania 4 on the SNES. Only he can rock those 8 directions as good as Gizmo. I hate the fact that he only shoots in those diagonal directions only if you are moving, and that sucks. And the way you find different weapons that you get to keep, like the match that changes your tomatoes to the fire spark. And the game is great, and you owe it to yourself to play it. And with that being said, I think this is one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. Okay, and up next we have Crystalis, and this is an amazing game. If you are tired of Zelda and are looking for something a bit different, then Crystalis has you covered. This is one of those games that I had to discover while an adult, and what a shame that is, as having something like this when I was a kid would have been great. It seems that the end day of the planet has happened and everything has been destroyed. To ensure that this will never happen again, the remaining people have built a floating tower in the sky, and now, 100 years later, the game starts in a mysterious land where a boy is waken up from a futuristic cryogenic chamber. The boy has no name, but we can see that we are not from around here and that this is an unevolved place in terms of technology. This game is just fantastic, but one thing I will say is that you need to be careful and make a note of everything that happens in the game, as it does not hold your hand and it will let you figure out what to do next. This is hard without a guide, and we can say the same thing about Zelda. It was really hard to figure out alone that you had to burn a random bush somewhere to find the dungeon entrance. Talk to people in the village and get a sword and some money, which you can use to buy some armor, and set out into the world to find the mystery of this place. We start with the first puzzle where you have to buy an alarm flute to wake up an individual to start a windmill so that this other guy will teach you magic. This game is just pure bliss. The music here is superb, and the atmosphere it creates will keep you coming back until you have finished it. This game is just one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. And this next game is one that never came to the West, but for us in Eastern Europe, having those Chinese bootleg consoles also meant we were not limited by region locking, so we were able to experience a lot of Japanese titles that never made it to the West. And that is the case with Mistsume Ga Toru, or the Three-Eyed One. You play as a Shaolin named Hosuke Sharaku, one of the last survivors of a Shaolin clan who has 3 eyes and has the power to shoot a projectile from that third eye. You can also throw a spear as a charge power-up and also use that to platform around. You collect coins in this game, which you can use as currency midway through the stages, where you can buy different power-ups like a really fast shot or a spread shot. This game is based on a manga of the same name but does not follow the story. It is just a simple rescue story of your friend. That is good, as the game is solid and plays so well, and I used to love this one as a kid. The music complements the game so well, and I have to say that I was quite lucky in a way to play these games when I was a kid, as looking back now, I had the capacity to know what a great game was. And also, I will not be upset that we did not have the original consoles, as we got to experience the Japanese titles as well. So I will have to be grateful that I was able to experience all these amazing games. And I really think that Mistsume Ga Toru is one of those games you do not want to miss on the NES. And this next game has something about it that makes it special, and if you play it, you will know what I mean. I had this game as a kid and I also managed to beat it, and that made me a proud kid. The controls are a bit clunky, the weapon is a bit clunky, the music is a bit weird, and the gameplay seems cryptic and all over the place, but you still think there's something about this game that only people that played it can tell you that it's an amazing game. You explore this cryptic world and realize you kind of go in circles until you manage to get enough diamonds to proceed to the next phase, as the entrance is blocked by a lookalike knight. Every door and chest is color coded, so you will need to find the keys of these colors if you want to have true progression, as the chests are also color coded, and in these chests you will find upgrades like the throwing dagger or the magic wand, but even boots that will make you stronger. It is easy to miss these upgrades, but fear not, you will find replacements in other stages. This style of gameplay though makes it seem like you are losing stuff on the way, and it kind of gives you the feeling that you did not explore the stage fully, but I guess that is good for replayability reasons. Each stage ends up with a boss battle that is quite difficult, but after trying it a few times you will get the hang of it. This game is so interesting but so easy to brush aside as just shovelware if not given the necessary time to adjust. This is one of those games you do not want to miss on the NES. I remember this game from back in the day, and I remember saying, wow, such a cool guy, cleaning the planet like that. I also remember I was putting him at the same level with Captain Planet. But Toxic Crusader is a great game on the NES, and it's one that I played and beat as a kid, and I'm very proud of it. So the plot here is not about cleaning the planet. You are actually a Toxic Crusader that lives in peace with other Toxic Crusaders. Next to your village lives a race of aliens that decide to kidnap your friends and brother, and now it's up to you to save them. Simple premise. The music is amazing and uplifting, and it will keep you coming back for more, even though the game is really hard. You start with a weapon in your hand, which is a broom. Great, but only one hit and you lose that broom. And trust me, it's really easy to get hit and lose that broom. This game looks great but has a weird hit mechanic where touching the enemies doesn't hurt you, but their attacks do, so you have to somehow maneuver yourself between their projectile and get close enough to punch them. And yeah, I would like to hit them with the broom, but unfortunately you lose that broom so easy. The boss battles are great, starting with this first boss, the dog made from toxic waste that looks just freaking fantastic. Toxic Crusaders is one of those games that you do not want to miss on the NES. Alright guys, so those are 10 games you do not want to miss on the NES. Please comment and tell me what you thought about this video and what are some titles you would put on this list. I might make a follow-up video. But with that being said, I want to thank you for watching, and if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe or at least tell a friend.